Today's target will be finding the equation for the curve of best fit. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to use your calculator to find the equation for the quadratic curve of best fit for a set of data points. The important thing to do in today's video is to make sure you copy down the calculator steps. I know many of you do not have an 84 calculator at home. If you do, I would suggest that you follow along with your calculator. But if you don't, make sure you copy down the steps, and we will go over how to do this in class. So you'll want to have the steps with you so that you know how to work through this and you can practice on the calculator. Here's our data set. We've got an object that's being thrown from the top of the building. The table below shows the height of the object at various times. So after 1 second, 2 seconds, 3, and so forth, shows you how high it is at each time interval. So what we want to do is we want to create an equation of best fit that will then allow us to figure out how high do we expect the ball to be after 6 seconds, after 7 seconds, or how long will it take for the ball to hit the ground, or maybe how high will the ball, or how long will it take the ball to be 50 feet above the ground or 100 feet above the ground. But using a curve of best fit allows us to work both ways and to figure out missing values. So how do we do this? Step 1 is to enter our data into the calculator. Okay. So in order to do that, we need to go to the Stat menu. So I'm going to go over to my calculator. I'm going to click the Stat button. See where that little mouse cursor is? That's a button I just pressed. The Stat button. And we want to go to Edit. So I'm just going to hit Enter. And it's going to take me to the Edit frame. So step 1, Stat, and then we want to go to Edit. Once you do that, you may have to clear numbers that are already there. We want to put our first column that might also be X values, depending on how it was presented, or the first row if this was a horizontal table rather than a vertical table. First column is going to go in L1, and then the second is going to go in L2. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go ahead and up here at the top, clear it out. Maybe. Oh, there we go. And then over to L1, clear, enter, and it goes away. So now I can enter in my time for list 1. So 1, after every number, you're just going to hit enter, and it logs it in there for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's the first column. Arrow over, and I'm going to put my second column in. 148, 156, 145, 118, and 76. So that's step 1. We got to enter our data into the calculator. Okay. Step 2, we need to calculate the curve of best fit. So to do that, we're going to go back into the Stat menu. And this time we want to go over to Calc. So I'll arrow over to Calc, and then I'm going to select Quadratic Regression. So that's number 5. And Quad Reg. So I'm going to select quadratic regression. Remember, we're working with quadratics. Everything we've graphed, everything we've learned about has been quadratic so far. So that should be your key. We're going to do quadratic regressions. Okay. Depending on your calculator, it might give you a list here, ask for the x values, the y values, and so on. I know the calculators that we have in class will ask for that. If you've got a calculator with an older operating system, it will just pop up here and say quad reg. Either way, you're just going to hit enter. If you have a list, you go all the way down to where it says calculate, I believe. Either way, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. So here we have our quad reg, and it gives you the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and then it tells you a is equal to negative 8.285. I'm going to round that to negative 8.29. B is 31.514. I'm going to round that to 0.51, and then C is 125.2. So now it's just your job to take these values and plug them in for the correct letter. So our equation would be y equals negative 8.29x squared plus 31.51x plus 125.2. That's all it is. This is our equation here. What we'll do next is we'll look at how do we use this equation to solve for missing values. That'll be in the next video. Make sure you have these steps down. We're going to practice with these steps in class. Nothing too complicated, nothing too over the top. Shouldn't be tough to memorize, but you do have to get familiar with these steps and knowing where everything is. Where to go for step 1 to enter your data, and where to go to step 2 to actually calculate the equation. So let's make sure you have this down. We will use this when you come to class tomorrow.